Wow, it's great to see so many familiar faces on this Zoom call. I'm sorry we couldn't do this in person, but it's good to see you guys. Just as the other guys have mentioned, we're just so humbled and honored, my family and I, to be back here at LSU and to have the opportunity to serve this great institution in this state and its people. Just thankful for Coach Orgeron, thankful for Scott Woodward, LSU administration, and really the entire state of Louisiana for making this a really easy transition and for welcoming us with open arms. You know, my wife went to school here, my kids were born here in Baton Rouge, and really excited to get back here and help this organization accomplish all the goals that we have through the vision of Coach O and through the administration, and help bring more championships to Baton Rouge. So with that, blessed to be here, and we'll open it up for any questions that you guys may have.
What's up, Austin? Good to see you again. Michael Cobble from
Hey,
Channel
Michael.
2. What did you learn on your travels, and what do you hope to make this job? What do you hope to make it for the Tigers and for yourselves?
You know, I think when you go different places, and you know, as I've mentioned before, just having such an affinity for this program, and so even from afar, the ability to follow LSU and track players and track the staff and just see their growth, and you see that from afar, but at the same time, there's an inner growth as well. You learn, you reflect. You have time to really discover who you are, and you have time to take things that you've learned other places and really implement those. And so some of your philosophy, you know, I think at times it actually makes it more sound, right? You say, all right, these are things that I believed in, and through my travels, I now more firmly believe in that. And then there are things that you say, okay, you know, hey, I thought this or I felt this way last time I was at LSU, but actually being at a different place, these are things that I can take, or areas that I can grow and improve myself and bring them back to Baton Rouge, and maybe tweak some things, you know, through Coach O's vision that we can do better or that we can improve on as an organization to continue to help us sustain success. And I think the second part to your question, this job for me is just a blessing. I still think that, you know, it's kind of at the forefront of college football. So as we continue to grow and push, you know, the off the field roles in college football, to me, it's just about being where my feet are, you know, and taking what comes every day and figuring out the best way to maximize myself and maximize our employees for LSU to make us as great as we can be. So.
Hey, Austin, Brody Miller with The Athletic. I mean, obviously you're coming into this job at kind of an interesting time, time of transition. I guess, you know, as you arrive here, I guess what have been the first things you see that you kind of, you know, need to address, or things you want to do in the next few months?
I think it's really important to just to take time to listen and learn. And so, you know, there were some things that I had an idea about, you know, the last time I was here, having spent 5 years here before. And so I've come in with a very open mind and just taken it, you know, meeting by meeting and day by day and really hour by hour, to be honest, to just listen to people, hear their heart, hear what makes them go, hear how we can take individuals, and we have great people here. And I think that's the one thing throughout my entire time at LSU that I can really stand on, is that we have great people. And so taking those people and really figuring out how to maximize them and bring them fulfillment and bring them career growth and bring them joy to what they're doing, but at the same time, maximizing the benefit for LSU as well, right? And so I think it's, for lack of a better term, a symbiotic relationship that you have where, you know, it's a two-way street, and so you're maximizing the organization but maximizing the people. And I think that's where we'll concentrate first. But to me, at this point, it's been probably wisest for me to listen and learn and grow and go from there in the future.
Hey, Austin, Brooks Gavina from The Advocate. Welcome back.
What's up, Brooks?
Talking with you. Hey, you know, in the past, Ed Orgeron said that you know, you'd help out with some roster management on the team, and you know, it's an interesting transition that college football is going through. Perhaps a one-time transfer, the NIL, things like that. What are kind of your perspective on this and your history and what you see and kind of strategies of handling that future as it develops?
Sure. I think we'll start with what Coach O said earlier. I think it's really a new day in college football where, you know, it is probably best served to keep a scholarship or two on signing day in order to, explore opportunities that come in the spring, and guys, good players that where you may have an immediate need that you can go out and address some of those and get a quality player to come in and kind of bridge the gap between maybe some younger players and I won't call it a weakness, but maybe, an area that you might need some help immediately. So it's really a double-edged sword, to be honest, Brooks. It's probably good, in my opinion, that the players have, a little more control over their future in college football than it is in the past. And so I think about that with an open mind. I think about, if it were my son, what I would want them to do, or the ability to be where they want to be. I mean, I transferred colleges when I was in school, and so for a number of different reasons, it happens. And so I think you have to have an open mind about it. The whole roster management thing, I think it's a really deep question. We could probably spend an hour talking about it, just how you get there, how, potentially at times you do become light at a position. But I think, the factors in, just talent, injuries, off the field issues, and then the transfer portal now, right? When guys are not playing, it can really quickly dwindle your numbers and create an issue where you may have done a good job, but just by the nature of the beast might create a deficiency. On the flip side, as we just talked about, it also opens up an avenue to bridge that gap some, and the people that take advantage of the transfer portal best, I think, are able to go out and address immediate needs and become good quality teams at some areas that they may be lacking because they use the transfer portal in the right way. But make no mistake about it, we want to keep as many of our guys here as we can, and so it's a constant recruiting process for our team and our players. And I think, all the coaches that have set up here have talked about a trust and relationship building as being part of this process, and I think that's more important now than ever.
Hey, Coach, Shay Dixon with 24/7.
What's up, Shay?
On being back. I know you've been part of Frank Wilson's staffs and Ed Orgeron's, and then obviously worked other places, and a lot of stops recruited Louisiana, obviously here at LSU. Y'all have done a lot there in 2022 already, and kind of following up on Brooks's roster management question, what does recruiting Louisiana mean in this day of college football where transfer portal and everything else, and how important does focusing there even as early as now become?
I think it's of huge importance to us, Shay. When you hear Coach O speaks, he speaks about Louisiana first, and I think that's our philosophy as we move forward. I think you've seen, at least in my time here, and in the past, but especially going into 22, a conscious effort to evaluate and be really, really on top of these guys in the state for 22. I think it's an incredibly deep class, and it's one that we have to do our best to put up a fence around the state and keep a lot of these top players here. I think the players in Louisiana, after having been other places, it's a different kid. There's a toughness, there's a competitive spirit that comes with the kid in this state that you don't get everywhere else. And that's not to say that there aren't kids that fill that same role, but I think generally speaking across the board, the competitiveness and the ability to be coached and to be pushed of the kids in this state is different. And so we definitely have an emphasis on that here. We definitely want to dig as deep as we can to evaluate players in this state and make sure that we're getting the right fit for LSU, but at the same time, if there are guys that can fit what we need outside the state as well, going out and making sure that we evaluate them as well.
Hey, Austin, Jacques from Channel 9.
What's up, Jacques? How are you, man?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Good to see you back, man.
Yeah.
I would like to think that you played a big role in a lot of those guys who won the Fiesta Bowl and then the national championship. I was just curious what it was like for you to watch that and to, I guess, in your heart, sharing some of that success. And you can't recreate that, but how can you get back to that?
Sure. It was such an amazing experience. I've talked about the affinity that my wife and I have for this place and this institution and this community and these kids. And that first year, 2018, when I was at A&M and we played the 7 overtime game, it was probably the most surreal moment of my career to have not gotten to A&M until May, and then you go into the summer, right, and you go into the season. And I remember never thinking that the day would come that we would play LSU, and you know, it finally gets here, and all of a sudden I'm standing on the sideline at Texas A&M, and I'm looking across, and I'm just looking at so many people that I know so much about, and so many kids that I know so much about, and I know their families, and you know who they are. And it became a very, very surreal experience for me to be there for that. And then to come into Tiger Stadium in 2019, you know, the year that LSU won the national championship, was very surreal in its own right as well, because I had never been an opponent here until that. And so it was a night that I would like to forget, but one that I'll remember for sure because of the crowd in the stadium, and I got to experience Tiger Stadium, and it really gave me an appreciation for it, you know, as an opponent. And so I thought that was a pretty unique experience. But just, man, just to see all these kids grow up, and that's what they were when, you know, we recruited them here, and to become young men and holistically develop who they are, you know, athletically, academically, spiritually, socially, and see them head into the NFL and beyond, and have success and continue their journeys. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about is, you know, developing these guys as young men, and growing them as people. And I think it's been an incredible journey. And, you know, you don't ever want to try to, like you said, recreate that. But I think we can take some of the variables and things that we did well and continue to implement those things, and try to get as close as we can to that in the future moving forward. And, you know, the dynamic will always be different. Every team is its own, but at the same time, we can get close.